Hello, my name is Dennis Hanahan, and today I'm going to be talking about a couple interactions I've had recently. So overall, I try to be a very helpful person. So I found myself in the service field, customer service. A lot of times that would be, working at fast food. I worked at Zaxby's. I worked at Publix as my first job. So as a bag boy, being that I was 15, that's really all I could do at the time. And that eventually led me to 17, where I applied at a restaurant called Taziki's. And Taziki's is basically a Mediterranean restaurant that it's sort of luxury, like bougie inside, like an Olive Garden or something. However, it's overall a really fast and enjoyable experience for food. Um, so yeah, once I got hired, I liked it enough. I stuck out and stuck around for like 4 years, which eventually led me into this most recent summer, where I was actually one of the only social media marketing, local store marketing intern. And honestly, that was an awesome experience. It taught me a lot about how to really just sort of make your way up, make your way around in the world. Taught me the power of connections, much less what we've been learning in class, such as like LinkedIn and such. Um, so yeah, being that I was at this company and I was experiencing it firsthand, I had to, by choice, do this as my company to research. So Taziki's was started in Birmingham, Alabama, and they currently have 94 stores around the country, looking to break 100 by 2021, which is really awesome. So yeah, based out of Birmingham. However, there's also a headquarters in Nashville. That's where I was, Nashville, Tennessee. And essentially, overall, when the pandemic hit, it put a lot of us through a lot of things. However, the restaurant industry in itself took a huge hit. Um, Business had stopped and slowed down to a point that we stopped using numbers from 29 or 28 2020. We stopped using 2020 numbers, as they were just such extremes and so bad. It wouldn't be a good reliable comparison. So we've been comparing to 2019 as opposed to this year. Um, Having said all that, one of my bigger aspects at the job was hiring, essentially, because the pandemic had, killed business and then essentially brought it back after they had lifted the lockdown orders. There were a lot less people wanting to work, just because of the fact that they were getting stimuluses from the government, which is very understandable. However, that was one of my bigger projects. Sometimes it would be going out and taking photos of happy employees, or sometimes it would be posting said photos, or a lot of posting, really. um, Overall, I'd say the restaurant industry is very good. Like, it's in a good place. People are always going to want to go out and have a beer, get a drink, have a nice old juicy hamburger. But the pandemic really did slow it down. So it's something to keep in mind, that that industry is somewhat volatile. Like, a year of inactivity put out a lot of mom and pops restaurants. Um, it's frankly like sad. However, with that kind of industry, it's bound for stuff to happen. Um, so from that point, that leads me straight back into Taziki's. So think of it like a fancy fast food place. The most relatable other place that's sort of off the top known to people, maybe Zoe's Kitchen or Kava. Those are our two big competitors, being that they're going for the same high value, good quality products, and being that they're also Mediterranean, um, or at least Mediterranean theme, that is. Um, However, Tzatziki's just keeps sort of a step ahead of the competition. They had me doing a lot of forward thinking and watching Kava. One of my projects was a huge SWOT analysis on Kava, just to uh, in the hopes that the franchisees for Tzatziki's would have like a little fact sheet to, sort of comfort them. essentially. Um, so recently I had two interviews. Being that I couldn't use anyone from my work, I chose to reach out to uh, this kind woman, Angela, who works at a local. She's a broker for a local insurance sale, like insurance Medicare sales, and I met her through my mother just because my mom finally hit the age to where she's okay to get Medicaid, or she qualifies, you know. So when I met her, I jumped on the opportunity, being that I like the structure of the job and it sounds like I would enjoy it. So I reached out and I said, could we have a quick interview? And overall, it was more just about what her daily things are, daily activities. She talked a lot about the potentials of sales level positions and like entry level, and she was definitely trying to sell me on it. And I can't say that I'm not sold. It was definitely interesting. She talked a lot about the pay structure, about how it's yearly plus commission, but more like residuals every month for every sale you get. The other speech I talked to, the other interview I had was with, technically cheated here, not cheated, but broke a rule. His name's Benji Smith. He is a broker at Flagship Realty. I met him through. He's actually a buddy's dad, like a friend of mine's dad. However, I'd never talked to him really at all. But I mostly just reached out and said, "Can I get in contact and just go over your job for 5 or 10 minutes?" And he said, "Yeah." So it went well. He works for Flagship Realty, and essentially their goal is like flipping land. So like think flipping houses, but with a whole set of land. Like they make a lot of retail lots, shopping centers, strip malls, that kind of stuff. They were really big in my community because you'd always recognize the signs and then see a giant, like think a neighborhood maybe, like a 50 house neighborhood, or a lot of times it was public works kind of stuff. But yeah, overall, those were two very beneficial interviews, and I'm glad I got to speak to those individuals. I would say overall, my biggest goal in life is just obviously to be happy. But from there, there's a lot of little things that I would like, you know. I just want to live comfortably, financially, and like what I'm doing, which is not too hard, just especially in this world. However, I'd say overall, my biggest goal is just to graduate, which isn't going to be too hard, you know, preferably with A's and B's. If I want to break it down by there, I definitely need to look more deeply into LinkedIn usage, as well as different programs like that, just in order to make myself look as professional as possible. It's also important that I emphasize my resume as well, being that I've had the same job for a while at this point. I haven't really refreshed it at all, so that will be important. However, yes, overall, I'm aiming to just enjoy my life, live happy, graduate with 3.5. I'd say that's fair, and you know, just go places. I want to enjoy my life. I want to love my work. So that's obviously going to start with all the upfront stuff, like I just mentioned, Squarespace, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff.